Hi friends, I am Dani. Welcome back to Summer Skye Gardens. In today's video, I wanted to talk to y'all about one of my favorite shrubs for landscaping in your garden, drift roses. I have had drift roses in my garden for the last several years and I love them. There are so many benefits to having them in your garden, so I wanted to talk to you about some of those today and hopefully convince some of you to plant some. As always, if you like this video, like it, comment, share it, and I hope that you enjoy it. Now, if you're in the South like me, where we have a warmer fall and a cooler winter, now is a fabulous time to plant any kind of shrub or tree, and especially drift roses. We're not gonna have a ton of freezing temperatures. We rarely, if ever, get snow here, so the roses will be just fine over the winter, and getting them in the ground now means they have plenty of time to establish a good root system before the heat of next summer. Now, if you're somewhere where you're already getting a frost or a freeze, or you tend to have a fair amount of snow over the winter, then you're gonna wanna wait till early spring to get most of your new shrubs and trees in the ground. But one of the reasons why I really like drift roses is that they're very hardy. They can take freezing temperatures, they can take a little bit of snow. I'll tell you, when we had our freak snowstorm back in February here in South Texas, we had snow on the ground for 4 days until it started to melt, which never ever happens. I covered some of my drift roses, some of them I didn't have enough cover for, and they were all fine, which was shocking to me. I know that they can handle freezes, but I had no idea they could handle that much snow, and they were all fine. So if that's not a good reason to get them in your landscaping just because they're so hardy, I would go for it. So let me go take you out front where I have all mine in my front landscaping bed, and I'll show you around and give you some of the benefits of planting drift roses. All right, so I'm out front showing you a little bit about how they're arranged in my front landscaping. I have two different colors. I have pink and red. You can get white drift roses. I think there's yellow. There's a lot of different really pretty colors, but the main thing about drift roses is you're marrying the beauty of a classic like English rose with kind of more of the hardiness of something like a knockout rose, something that stays lower to the ground. The blooms are a lot smaller, but they're very hardy, they're very disease resistant, so you're getting a lot of benefits from that. I have mine arranged all along the front of the bed just because they'll kind of drape over the front, and I think that's really pretty. But you can kind of put them wherever. They will get huge if you let them. But one of the beauties about drift roses as opposed to regular roses is that you can hack them away and trim them up however you want. Regular roses, you have to be really specific about how you trim them and cut them and prune them and when you do this. Drift roses, you can trim them and prune them however and whenever you want. So as you can see, this whole bush here is 2 plants, and it's super big now, but there's a pink one and a red one that are kind of now, actually this is 3 plants. There's 1, 2, 3, 2 pinks and a red. They're all kind of interplanted. You can see how they kind of drape over the front. They form these little clusters of blooms that the bees just love. And with regular roses, you want to deadhead them so that they'll keep blooming. With drift roses, you don't have to do this. I tend to just let them go because there's so many blooms and they'll be just fine, but they will bloom from early spring all the way to now and beyond. It just depends on your weather. They usually don't bloom as much over the summer because it's so hot. Now, with talking about watering and fertilizer needs, watering is kind of the same of any type of generic shrub or tree, at least 1 inch once a week, maybe a little bit more during the summer, but these tend to be really hardy over the summer. We have really dry, hot summers here, humid summers, and I've never had a problem with my drift roses getting enough water or developing disease. So they're super low maintenance in that aspect. As for fertilizing, you could come out and fertilize them anywhere from once every other week to once a month. I tend to not, just because I have so much else to do in my garden and so many other things to fertilize. And you can see, you know, how many blooms they have from me neglecting them and not fertilizing them all the time, they'll be just fine. They'll give you a lot more blooms if you do fertilize them. Some kind of regular just flower fertilizer, I'll link one of my favorite ones below, but if you don't want to or you forget, no big deal. Now, as far as like using them for cut flowers, they're not super great. I mean, they do have these beautiful little sprays of roses, and you can cut off a few of these sprays and put them in a vase, and they'll be good for a couple of days, but they will wilt and die pretty quickly. I don't get a super long vase life from them, so I don't grow them for cut flowers, although I've used them in vases or tablescapes here and there. But you're gonna find a lot of other flowers are gonna be way better for cut flowers, but I mainly have them as something beautiful in my landscaping. The bees love them, and they're just super low maintenance and easy to take care of, which is great for me since I have so much else that I take care of. Now, as far as like disease goes, we do have a lot of humidity here, and you can see where some of the areas will get a little bit of black spot from the humidity, but overall the plants seem to do fine. They're very disease resistant. I don't have any pests that are really drawn to them, and honestly, I don't come out and spray them or treat them with anything. I just kind of let them go. And in the springtime or early springtime, when I prune my other roses, I will come out and cut the bushes back, but I've never had any of these plants die from disease, which is another super awesome benefit, how disease resistant they are. All right, friends, that's all I have today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I convinced some of you to include drift roses in your landscaping in your garden if you don't have them already. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below or shoot me a message, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.